What's your craziest but wait, it gets even worse story? I work as a police and fire dispatcher. This in itself is stressful. In 2017, we were in the middle of a very busy evening with a major accident when I looked in our computer-aided dispatch, or CAD, and saw registration information. I realized it was the car my mom had just bought my 17-year-old daughter. But wait, it gets even worse. The accident was so bad, they were asking for multiple engines and rescues. Then I noticed the traffic units are being dispatched. This only happens with great bodily harm or death. But I couldn't leave, even though by now I had confirmed it was my family on scene. I had to get them help before I left work. The field units were barking out orders and demanding resource after resource. It took everything I had to sit there and get them what was needed. But wait, it gets even worse. I was finally told I had to go respond to the scene. My 68-year-old, mentally disabled adopted sister was injured, hysterical, and they were unable to calm her down. In addition, my 17-year-old daughter was injured and refused to be treated. She only wanted to leave and wait at the hospital to hear about her grandma, my mom, who the rescue units had scooped and ran with. This means the paramedic felt my mom had a very slim chance of survival and she might make it out alive if she gets to the hospital quickly. My mom broke her both legs, both arms, all the fingers in her right hand, her pelvis, hip and back. She was in a medically induced coma. She miraculously survived but was bedridden for the rest of her life. She needed help with everything. She was still lucid. She just never walked again. Throughout the year, she contracted sepsis multiple times. She would refuse to go to the doctor or stay in a rehab facility. She would only go when she was unconscious or not lucid enough to say no. But wait, it gets even worse. Back in 2016 I noticed a lump in my abdomen. I was told it was scar tissue, so I went to the doctor over and over again and their diagnoses ranged from a cyst to an infection for which I was prescribed antibiotics for. It wouldn't stop growing. By 2018 it was the size of a cantaloupe. It ruptured at work, the bleeding was so bad I was soaked in blood from the waist down. Finally my doctor decided to remove it. They left a huge gaping hole which had to be packed. It kept getting infected, no matter how many times I would clean it and how thorough I was. I was told it was nothing to worry about. After a third massive infection I scheduled an appointment and saw a nurse practitioner because the doctor wasn't available. It was at this appointment where I was asked, "Why aren't you getting treatment for your cancer?" I was told the mass was a cyst, but when it was tested further they found lymphoma. By the time I got to an oncologist, I had stage 4 cancer and 27 tumors. I had to be hospitalized because the infection was so bad, I needed 4 antibiotics. But wait, it gets even worse. I had to move back in with my mom before all of this happened to pool our resources together to make ends meet. We had an agreement on rent. My mom had always been bad with money, don't get me wrong, she was a great mom. Had no substance or gambling habit, she just loved to buy junk online. While I was hospitalized, I found out our house was in foreclosure. The mortgage company would not work with us. They wanted $30,000. I had to scramble to find us housing which was handicapped accessible, while being hospitalized. My mom got sepsis again. She was transported to the same hospital where I was admitted. This time she was so bad, doctors recommended hospice. In this hospital, hospice was on the same floor as cancer patients. My mom died 400 feet from me, but I was not allowed in her room. I was not allowed to say goodbye. She had contracted MRSA and I was a patient with a very large open wound and a compromised immune system from the cancer. But wait, it gets even worse. I had a daughter I had to support so I worked right through chemo. I was in an incredible amount of pain and I was very sick. I was very cranky and my brain was fried from chemo. The quality assurance specialist was nitpicking everything we did as a department. I was accused of saying someone should shut her up, so she filed a complaint on me. They opened a whole investigation for the inappropriate comment I supposedly made but they refused to pull the video to show me where I said it. We are recorded at all times. I was told since I didn't remember, I must have said it, I was too tired, too sick and too weak to fight it. Most of my coworkers were very supportive, but there is always that one. But wait, life wasn't done with me yet. I had to stop working for 6 months, and I ran out of sick leave. My employer would not pay their portion of the premiums unless I had sick leave. Their part of my health insurance was over $1,000 a month. The first round of chemo failed. The second round of chemo failed. I had to move 500 miles from home for treatment. I had to live in a hotel room alone. I was so sick after my treatments I couldn't walk more than a few steps. I had to crawl to the bathroom and just ended up sleeping on the bathroom floor in the hotel room because I didn't have the energy to crawl back to my bed. I was supposed to be on anti-seizure meds but I couldn't hold them down. I ended up having a seizure and was found unconscious, barely breathing by the hotel staff. I was in a coma for 9 days. When I came out, I couldn't walk at all and had to use a wheelchair. I ended up with cytokine release syndrome and was straight up crazy for a few weeks, or so I'm told, as I don't remember. And I think that's it. I'm slowly recovering from going through all this, and am on my 3rd round of chemo. I hope with everything I have that life still isn't done with me. I want to see my daughter graduate college and become an adult. I still have hope. There is nowhere to go but forwards.